Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I'm your host, Tom Downey, and naturally we'll start things off with some Earl Thomas talk in today's Cowboys Rumors Roundup because, well, that's all anyone was talking about yesterday on Twitter. So first up, 4 stars on this first rumor. Yeah, Dallas offered a second-round pick for Earl Thomas. Now, if you watch the Cowboys Report, if you are a regular watcher, you already know this was going to be the offer. We've told you this for months, that Earl Thomas and the Cowboys and the Seahawks would eventually try to come down to a second-round pick. The question is, would that be enough? Well, Seattle said no, and that was actually, I think, a little bit surprising to me because if you're the Seahawks, he's probably going to leave as soon as he can. Wouldn't you rather get a second-round pick now than a third or fourth-round comp pick that's going to be way later? That's a pretty significant change in terms of overall draft position. So, yes, the Cowboys offered a second-round pick. Yes, Seattle said no. We'll talk more about the future there as to what that means in a little bit. But next up on our rumors roundup is namely, should the Cowboys have offered a first-round pick for Earl Thomas? And this comes to us from the legendary accurate reporter Skip Bayless. And Skip, this is fake news. What are you talking about? Earl Thomas is not worth a first-round pick. In a bubble, pure talent-wise, sure. But you got to pay ET, let's say around at least $13 million a year. There is no team willing to make that trade with the Seattle Seahawks. It doesn't make sense for the Cowboys because you have to pay somebody and give up a draft pick. A first-round pick is too expensive, especially when we don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, it'd probably be in the 20s with Earl Thomas, but heaven forbid Dak and Zeke and all those guys get hurt. All of a sudden, that first-round pick could become top 10. It is not worth trading away first-round pick for Earl Thomas. Strongly disagree on that one. All right, next up, is the Earl Thomas dream dead? I saw that headline from SB Nation here. The dream is not dead. I'll give this one 3 stars. It's not completely alive forever, and maybe the trade dream is taking a bit of a hit. But the Cowboys, per the Dallas Morning News, think that the Seahawks will lessen their trade demands. That's the big one. Now, watch the trade deadline and or after Week 3 when the Cowboys play the Seattle Seahawks. Thomas, by the way, is still unhappy. He's not a happy camper for the Seahawks right now. He felt disrespected by the Seahawks, really lack of offers for him and lack of any real impetus to trade him. Thomas also, by the way, liked tweets about joining the Dallas Cowboys. And, oh, yeah, he's going to be a free agent next year. And, yeah, Seattle could still franchise tag him. I don't know if that's the route they really want to go down, given the issues they've had in the past there. But the Cowboys have the cap space to afford Earl Thomas in 2019 free agency. That's kind of my initial thought was if you made a pick between in a Cowboys uniform for this year or next year, I lean more towards 2019 free agency because I think it makes more sense and it allows the Cowboys to pay him and not give up a draft pick. And oh, by the way, if ET really wants to be a Cowboy, go sign with Dallas and see if he's actually just using the Cowboys as a leverage chip or not. So, folks, let me know if you think Earl Thomas will play for the Cowboys in 2019. Type in Y for yes and type in N for no. And, folks, today's show was brought to you by BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. What that means is if you put in $100, they'll give you $120 free for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI. Once again, promo code Cowboys120, chatsports.com/bet is the website. All right, some more rumors to digest here for the Cowboys. How about Xavier Su'a Filo heading to Dallas? I'll give this one 2 stars, still kind of firmly in the rumor category. The Cowboys, though, are working out Su'a Filo, the former second-round pick by the Houston Texans. Now, Su'a Filo was on the Titans roster this year, was competing for a roster spot, and lost the battle. And now, Cowboys are at least a little bit concerned about the interior depth because they traded for Parker Enger, and now he is battling his own little knee injury. Of course, Frederick is not going to play in Week 1. Enger is kind of more of a question mark. Adam Redmond's a center, so once again, the Cowboys' depth, especially on the interior, very much in doubt. So 2 stars on this one. Keep an eye out for that potential signing later this week or even later today. All right, speaking of signings, how about a Cole Beasley extension? Now, if you go back to previous Cowboys reports, I've given this 1 star, and I'm sticking with just the 1 star here. And by the way, Cole Beasley more or less confirmed exactly what we've said on the show. Yeah, the Cowboys might want a deal because he's kind of cheap right now coming off a down year, but if you're Cole Beasley, why would you take a new contract when you are at your lowest value you've been in several years? Beasley wants to maximize his value with a big season. The way to maximize your value is not to sign a new contract extension right after you had a down year. So the Cowboys did go to Beasley, but hey, can we maybe work out a deal, work out a new extension? And Cole Beasley was like, thanks, but no thanks. Doesn't make sense for me after having 75 catches, 52 catches, 37 catches, after my worst year in the last 4 years to sign a new deal. Doesn't make sense for Cole Beasley. I think he bounces back this year because Dak trusts him, and maybe then you see a new extension for Cole Beasley and the Cowboys. But right now, I'd be stunned if it happened just the 1 star. More maybe bad news here for the Cowboys. Could Rico Gathers be suspended? We'll keep this at 2 stars here, but Jerry Jones confirmed what kind of we all knew about. Rico is in a bit of danger of getting suspended by the NFL because, don't forget about Friday before he made the Cowboys roster, Rico Gathers was arrested for marijuana possession. Now, I'm not going to say it's an automatic suspension because we've seen things happen. I mean, for example, we saw Terrence Williams get away with more or less crashing his car while intoxicated. Maybe Rico could get away with something similar there. So there is the possibility that he could face a suspension for the arrest, but it's still so early. We know how the NFL tends to drag these cases out that I'm going to keep it in 2 stars in the 2-star category for right now. But speaking of Rico, now that he's on the Cowboys 53-man roster, how many touchdowns will he have this year? Let me know in the comments section. I cannot wait to see what you guys say. I'm sure we'll have some zeros, and I think I already see some big numbers flowing in. So let me know in the comments section. I'll give you my thoughts in there as well. Once again, folks, I am Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. And a big thank you to BetDSI for sponsoring today's show. Guess what, folks? It's finally time. Week 1 of the NFL regular season is finally here, and we'll have the Cowboys going over to North Carolina to play the Carolina Panthers. You see the odds and over-under there, courtesy of BetDSI. Carolina, thanks to being the home team in reality, is a 3-point favorite. The over-under very low, 42.5. We'll get to my prediction and producer Brett's prediction later on in the show. But the Cowboys are underdogs on the road this week. And again, thank you to BetDSI for providing us with those odds. You can bet on them right now at chatsports.com/bet. Cowboys 120 is your promo code. Gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $100 to bet with. You'll end up with 120 for an extra 120 for a grand total of $220. That's chatsports.com/bet. On now to the Cowboys injury report, and there are some ones that we want to make note of here. Now, Dayton Jones, Xavier Woods haven't been officially declared out, but they're not going to play this week. They have not been practicing. These guys are not ready to go yet. Kevon Frazier, I think, will play again. There is no probable tag anymore for the injury report, which is stupid by the NFL's part, but that's okay. Frazier is questionable. I think he plays. Chidobe Awuzie, I think, is a little bit more of a true questionable option here for the Cowboys. He's dealing with a lower back problem. It kind of has tightened up on him. Backs matter for cornerbacks, so hopefully he's able to play. If not, you're going to see more Anthony Brown than I think you guys want to see. And then on the offensive line, Parker Enger, I doubt he plays. He's been limited after an injury he suffered on Wednesday. Cowboys brought in Xavier Su'a Filo to see how he's doing. He's almost out. And, of course, we also know that Travis Frederick, well, he is out too because he's still dealing with his Guillain-Barré syndrome. He's not going to play for Week 1 and beyond. Once again, folks, I'm Tom Downey. We're taking you through our Cowboys vs. Panthers preview. Just went through our injury report. Now it's time to take a little bit more of an in-depth look at how the Cowboys depth chart breaks down for Week 1. And by the way, this is what it actually is. Now with the Cowboys' unofficial release one, because that one didn't make any sense. So we'll make note where the mistakes were made from the Cowboys' own site. No surprise at quarterback, right? Dak, Cooper Rush, Mike White. Those are your 3 guys. That's a no-brainer. Same is true for also the halfback spot. You know, you have Jordan Sean and Bo Scarborough on the practice squad. It's Zeke, Rod Smith, and Jameis Olawale. All those guys are going to be active this week. They're all going to play roles. Zeke, by the way, is going to get fed week in and week out this year for the Cowboys. And speaking of feeding Zeke, how many rushing yards will he have against the Panthers this week? Let me know in the comments section. The over-under starts at 100, maybe a little bit higher than that, because Zeke is going to get the ball 25, 30, 35 times if the Cowboys have their way on offense. All right, on to the wide receiver core now here for the Cowboys, and we'll keep things the same for now. This is how the Cowboys listed their starting unit. And again, I want to make note here. These guys are all going to play. Like, this is not going to be a clear-cut number 1, a clear-cut number 2, a clear-cut number 3. It is going to be a rotation of guys, as you heard Jason Garrett say earlier on in the show. Gallup will play, Thompson, Austin will all play. And I think in reality, the Cowboys will try to go with the hot hand, and Gallup, I think, will get more and more action as the year goes on. So let me know who will lead the Cowboys in receiving yards. It can be for this year or just for the Carolina Panthers, which I think I'll lean more towards Cole Beasley on that one because I think he's going to get the most consistent work week in, week out for the Dallas Cowboys. On to the offensive line, which is a bit of a question mark because of the depth concerns. Tyron Smith, he's going to be good to go week 1. Sewell's good to go. Zach Martin is good to go. Leo Collins is good to go. Frederick is not going to play, as I've mentioned before. Leaves Joe Looney as your starter. And then really 3 backups right now. Cam Fleming, Adam Redmond, who was just signed, and Parker Enger, who the team traded for, but he is currently banged up. And he might not be able to go at all, either in week 1. So offensive line depth, big concern for me with the Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully those guys stay there, because if they don't, oh boy, there are some real concerns to have on that one. Once again, folks, I'm Tom Downey. Follow me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney for more Cowboys coverage. And any questions you have, send them my way as well. On to defense now. And so the Cowboys' unofficial depth that they put out on the defensive line was pretty wrong. I don't know how else to say it. For starters, and the big one, Dayton Jones, who is hurt and not going to play in week 1, was the listed starter at defensive tackle. I have no idea why. I think they maybe put somebody else wrong in there. I'm not really sure. Here's how it's going to look, especially on nickel downs. Lawrence, Woods, Crawford, Gregory. You'll see Malik Collins. I think he could play some DT on nickel, but he's come back from his own injury as well. Charlton will get reps. Armstrong will get reps. Again, the defensive line is not a 4 guys only play. It is going to be a rotation. Those top eight names, I think we'll see all of them get some snaps against a banged-up Panthers offensive line, which we'll get to later on here in just a minute. On to linebacker, though. Damian Wilson, Jalen Smith, and Sean Lee. Again, Wilson is a starter at the strong side linebacker spot, but he's not going to play that much. It's going to be mostly nickel, which means a lot of Jalen Smith and a lot of Sean Lee. By the way, Chris Covington, I would not be surprised if he is inactive in week 1 as kind of the guy the Cowboys are hoping to develop and didn't want to risk putting on the practice squad. On to defensive back, and I'm actually kind of concerned about this one because obviously Xavier Woods probably not going to play. I've already actually declared him out. Kevon Frazier coming off his own injury. I think he'll be good to go. Jeff Heath is okay. Ibrahim Campbell is the newest addition at safety, plus Tyree Robinson, but only 4 cornerbacks. And by the way, Cheeto, also questionable right now with his own back problem. So if he can't go, you got 3 corners. That's all you've got. I don't like that roster construction, so we'll see what happens there for the Cowboys, and we'll keep you updated on Awuzia here, but hopefully he is good to go for week 1 as he deals with what I think is a minor back problem, but back and minor often don't go together all that well. On now to special teams, and Deontay Thompson will be on kick returns. Tavon Austin will be on punt returns. Jones and LP, of course, are still in. And then there's the kicker change, right? The kicker is different. It's Brett Maher is in. I think I pronounced his name wrong earlier this week, so my apologies, Brett. We'll see how he fares, and I know you guys, and I know me too. If the Cowboys lose the game because Brett misses a field goal, oh boy, we are all going to be mad, and hopefully that does not happen. But folks, get your score predictions in the comments section. You got the Cowboys, I assume the Cowboys, beating the Panthers. What's your score? Let me know in the comment section. We'll get to mine and producer Brett's here as well in just a second. But first, folks, there's one key matchup that I want to look at this week for the Cowboys and the Panthers. That is on the defensive line and on the offensive line. That D-line for the Cowboys, it's a good defensive line. It's a strong unit, even though Collins coming off his own injury and Dayton Jones also a little bit banged up. But I'll tell you what, this Panthers offensive line, it's not very good. So Aminu Salatulu is also banged up. Darrell Williams, I thought was going to miss half the year. He's practicing. But Williams, by the way, is coming off a dislocated right patella and a torn MCL he suffered in late July. And the Panthers are so desperate for offensive linemen, they're going to kind of force him out there if he's able to go. So Taylor Vaughn, by the way, was competing for the left guard role, then got kicked to right tackle when Williams got hurt, and is now at left tackle because Matt Khalil is out for at least half the season. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm going to have a field day against this Panthers offensive line that is not that great and is also banged up. So let me know, how many sacks will the Cowboys have against the Panthers? I think it's going to be multiple. I think the Cowboys defense is going to have a good day against Carolina, who is also, by the way, working through a new offensive coordinator in Norv Turner, and without Curtis Samuel, as he has actually had surgery for a irregular heartbeat earlier this week. All right, folks, again, score predictions in the comments section. BetDSI put the Panthers as 3-point favorites, and I think we have a first here, folks, on the Cowboys Report. Of course, you see the over-under there, 42.5 is the over-under. Panthers by 3. Normally, I am the pessimist, and producer Brett Scott is the optimist. Well, we've changed that this week, apparently. I have the Cowboys winning 21-20, and producer Brett has the Panthers winning 24-21. This is either the first or the second time producer Brett has ever picked against the Cowboys. I'm very surprised by this, but I have the Cowboys this week, all right? I know it's a road game. Sign me up for Dallas going on the road against a iffy at best Panthers offensive line. I got the Cowboys winning, and I put my money down on BetDSI. I'm getting 3 points too. It's a no-brainer for me. Folks, today's clothing was provided by Mizzen and Manny. If you want your own awesome dress shirt, get one at comfortable.af, and we will see you guys on Sunday on Facebook and YouTube for our special Cowboys Report watch party during the game.